Philips has been, ever since IFA is there, a part of IFA. We have launched major innovations all the way through, and what I'm trying to give you a glimpse for is what the core of Philips is going to do into the future, which might be a little bit less on what used to be consumer electronics, but it is one of those things that I think you will see is where everybody at the moment is concerned about. You see a lot about health and well-being and lighting going forward in the future. We are going to split the company into two companies, and one of them will address, going forward as a pure play company, lighting solutions. We are the #1 provider in the world in lighting solutions. We are the #1 in LED lighting, and I don't need to tell you that the lighting revolution has just begun. When it comes to energy saving and all the benefits that LED lighting will give, we believe we're best positioned to address that space. For the Germans in the room, the Allianz Arena will just be given a new color. Has already been in green on St. Patrick's Day a couple of days ago, but you will see more coming with what opportunities you have with lighting solutions. And of course you see the U-Glow on top, just a new product that we've launched on the U range. I think also one of the products that are showing what connected world can do, given the example of lighting. But let me maybe talk about the other part of Philips, which is at least as exciting as the lighting solutions. That is the Royal Philips going forward, where we are addressing a global market of about 100 billion. And in that market, we are trying to address the space that we call HealthTech, or which is often called in the press also as MedTech. That is actually the change that is going on in society when it comes to how are we dealing with our personal health, how are we dealing with access to medical equipment and disease treatment. Our population is growing, population is getting older, and societies as it is today will not be able to afford everything that is possible to solve diseases and problems that we have in the world. I already mentioned, I think, depending on which area in the world you are, but specifically in the somewhat more developed markets, you see demographic changes, the population becomes significantly older over time. That is just one of the trends that you see in the market, which basically makes the increasing demand for healthcare so visible. The other one is that if you ask people today, only 2/3 of population would give you an answer saying that they consider their health and well-being as good or very good. So there is a huge part of the population that are aware that they have to do something about their health and well-being going forward. We believe that as Philips we have a unique position, because we are actually playing in both fields. We are amongst the top 40 brands in the world. We're known everywhere in the world. We've built the name for more than 125 years with our existence, and it's one of the biggest consumer brands that we have on the planet. But at the same time, which is less known, is we are the world's leading provider in professional healthcare equipment. So whenever you are in a hospital, it is very likely that you will bump into one of our X-ray machines, computer tomographs and others. So we believe we can address what we call the Healthcare Continuum very well, because we have a known brand, and the transition from how you live as a consumer and how you are treated in a hospital throughout the same brand, and ideally get you at the stage of health at the end again and make sure you are not coming back to the hospital, is what we call the Healthcare Continuum. And that is what actually we believe we can create a lot of value for consumers in terms of innovation and new, by indeed engage people on their health journey, as we call it, and focus on the total quality of care that is actually often delivered then in the hospital. So how are we going to do that? Here's again a glimpse of all the areas where we have leading positions. On the healthy living, you know us from also doing coffee machines. So for the ones of you that are longing for a coffee, we are still one of the world leading providers also in coffee machines. But you see a lot of appliances that are in the area of personal care and also already in health and wellness, where a lot of prevention already happens in the way how you do your daily life. And as I said, we are a leading provider when it comes to healthcare informatics, imaging systems, diagnostic systems, and patient care and monitoring solutions. There are a couple of trends that I've already mentioned upon that I want to spell out one more time, that makes us believe that we can really play a vital role in this. Some quote often used is, data is the oil of the future. The big data term is maybe even a bit overused, but specifically if you look into the healthcare space, we all know how inefficient data today is used. Whenever you go from one doctor to another, it is very likely that the first doctor will not know what the second doctor will do, or the other way around, unless you take care yourself about the data getting transported. Imagine what we can do if indeed that data will get more integrated. And specifically, if you as a consumer are much more in charge of the data about yourself and try to collect that data yourself and take care of that. Second thing is the increased collaboration amongst the healthcare institutions and specifically medical professionals amongst each other in a way, in an attempt to address what I mentioned earlier. How are we going to make sure that healthcare remains affordable and what is technically possible will also be accessible to people? We will have to globally change the way how we deal with that if we want to deliver what is technically possible to all people in the world. And what you see in there is this merge of expertise of medical professionals, but also with the patient and the consumers themselves. Not all doctors like that by now, but it is very much the case that if you are facing a disease, that you are very well informed. Because by the means of internet and others, you take much more care and knowledge about yourself. Something that wasn't there 10 years ago, which is very much accessible. You get in a much more informed stage to the doctor, and again, we will be able to provide means so that you know a lot more about yourself and the way how you are dealing with your health. And the fourth biggest trend is that also health as such is also going through a change. That we're moving away from treating a disease on its own, but having a much more systemic approach. For example, one of the studies that we are leading at the moment, oral care, for example, is one of the biggest indicator on systemic health. If you have a good oral hygiene, as we call it, it is very more likely that you are less prone for diabetes and heart problems. Those are the things that are also changing the world of healthcare, a much more systemic approach where people have to take care of themselves. Now, to give you a couple of examples of what is in the here and now, because that is still very much future talk, but in the here and now, let's start with one of the first things that you can do to improve your health is your nutrition. What are you eating? In a lot of markets in the world, we still used to dip our food into a bath of oil. Well, there are much better means of making healthy, tasteful food by the means of just using hot air to get the same result. I think it is very self-explanatory to everyone that is a much more healthy way to prepare your food and take care of your nutrition intake. That is a proposition like the air fryer that is just on an ever-growing trend. The second thing that we are launching is indeed a TENS proposition, pulse relief, that you will just simply manage and maintain via your smartphone. So the interesting thing, the product as such is just the 2 taps that you put on your back, and all the controls you just do from your smartphone. Let alone that you don't need a DFU anymore, because the smartphone will explain to you how to use it, right? And it is a much better way of also monitoring afterwards what you have done to your body, to keep track on what you have used. And also share this kind of data with your doctor to say, well, this is the pattern on where I have pain and how am I going to deal with it. Air purification is one of the biggest markets that has been evolving in the world. I mean, the leading market is China, for rather obvious reasons. If you want to take care of your health in China, you better get one of those devices, and that is something that is indeed going on. What is less so known, that also in the developed worlds, if it comes to in-home air quality, there's quite some hazardous substances that we all inhale every day that we're not so aware of. That is something that is indeed a trend that we see growing also, so also in-home air quality is an area that we will address. But as I already mentioned, one of the key products that we've just launched, and Dave just told me that he's still using the old version every day, is in our Sonicare range, the air floss. Because the gold standard of oral hygiene, and most of you will have heard that from your dentist, is to use flossing. Something that we don't necessarily see as convenient and easy to do, hence not many people actually do it. So it is one of those devices where we say we can bring meaningful innovation, improving people's lives, by just giving them a means to take better care of their oral health in a very easy and intuitive way. The study on what we have showed on the IDS in Cologne will be published soon, and it indeed proves what I've just said, that gingival inflammation is effectively prevented, as effective as if you would use a manual floss. So those are the innovations that are in the here and now, and I think it gives you an impression on indeed where are we going to lead this to. The space that we are developing here we call personal health. One of the first examples we are launching as we speak, where we're not also only offering a product, but much more a solution, is something that I'm going to show you in a minute. And that is a product that is addressing a problem many of you might also face, and that has to do with back pain. If you look, for example, in studies that are done with employers, a very high rate of absenteeism is just coming from people facing back pain in the way how they basically live their daily life. And I'm very sure some of you are with us here today. And that is also where we are able to offer a solution which is much more than just a simple product. But we're not going to do this on our own. As I said, we will be more connected and we will have to reach out to partners that are going to do with us. And I'm happy and delighted that for the first time publicly I can share with you that we are embarking on a partnership with Global Allianz, who is going to be our development partner for this back pain solution. In the first instance, addressing the needs that you have in let's say, global enterprises as a partner to go into that. But the plan is that we are going to develop this into a consumer proposition that will be accessible to everyone. I'm a little bit on purpose avoiding the words of wearables and stuff like that, where, well, I'm pretty sure that you read it on every second article that is in the news today, where a lot of companies have identified that trend. I think what I wanted to express here is that we're trying to come a bit more from another angle. It's not about the device as such. Of course, the device as such will play a role in that. But I think what really truly matters at the end is what is the intelligence behind and what are you going to do with the data. And that is why we believe as Philips we have a fantastic opportunity, because we are at home in the healthcare space. We are already operating very intensively with medical professionals on how to actually make meaning out of the big data that is available from CT scanners, MR scanners, heart rate monitors, everything that is out there. And we believe we can really truly make the link out of what a consumer is going to measure by themselves, combine it with the data that the medical professionals are going to collect, and out of that give a much more meaningful advice to people how to do that. And it starts with something about that a consumer can do on his own without necessarily having to use the data of a medical professional. But maybe it's a good moment to ask the two beautiful ladies next to me on stage to just give you a little bit of a live demo on what is this product all about. So what you see here is, and maybe you can switch one of those things on so that people understand what it is. It is actually a pad, and if you switch it on, you will see that there is a blue light coming out of the product. Because what the product actually does, it emits blue light from the back of the pad. And that blue light has a systemic effect on your blood vessels. It will release after continuous treatment. It will release a substance that the body uses itself in order to increase the blood flow. The interesting thing is that this is not a one-time off treatment, like you basically sit in front of an infrared light, something that we also still offer, but this is just a solution up front. We have studies that this product actually, after using it for 2 weeks regularly, will definitely improve your back problems systemically. To the stage that you will find after hopefully 2 weeks that your back problems will basically not be there anymore. And you can always go back into the treatment if you want to. But what is with this product? I'll use mine. What you can do with this product is indeed, you can just simply steer it from your smartphone. Of course you can switch it on and off on the device itself. The effect is going to be the same. The interesting thing that we're going to do is if you use it from your smartphone, the smartphone of course will notice when you use it, how long you use it, and it will also ask you to give advice. How did you feel before? What were your pain levels? How do you feel after? And it is that moment where together with Allianz, we will basically give personal coaching so that we make sure people use it in the way how it is intended. And you don't treat it like a one-off.